Hello, everybody. This is Howard the Teaserking coming to you with week 11 of college football. Huge week last week, 15-3, and really the losers were very small plays. Florida over Missouri, LSU against Alabama, which I only played once in a very small teaser, and Virginia against Pitt, and Virginia lost 3 players in the game and gave up 200 yards running, which was extremely strange. But that was it. All the big games won. The locks won. Utah State was a lock against the Hawaii. They won 56-17. And the Oklahoma Texas Tech over was 71, and they scored 97. So that was over about the end of the third quarter. Anyway, it was a very big week. The last 2 weeks, I was 12-3 the week before. All the methods are working really good. Sometimes I rely a little too much on the stat method of looking at the scores, but I can't. I've got to do that secondary because in college they can play these weak teams or these Division II teams. You know, Alabama plays the Citadel. I can't look at those averages and put them in. It makes no sense. And then so some of them are like that I just don't like to use. So that's why it's hard. In the pros I can use it a little more because they're pros. But even there, if you play Miami, the Jets, and Buffalo, you're playing teams with no offenses. It's hard to really, you can overstate a defense. But in this case, I got to use this as a last resort, really to look at weak defenses, because even if you play to the Division II and the Citadels, that shouldn't affect your defense. But if it does, then that's the problem, right? So the defense points allowed is really a key for me. So anyway, I have discounts or adjustments on my prices, as I stated last week. You can buy the month. The pro week's 100. The college is 75. You want them all? It's 135. You can buy them monthly. It's $250 for the pros, $250 college, $350 for everything. I'll give you, if you want the month, $250 for everything. So I'll reduce that 100, and then the year I've reduced down to $600 for the pros, $300 for college, $775 all the way through all the bowls, the playoffs, the Super Bowl, everything, all the picks, all the locks. And keep in mind, my pricing is a little different because I'm giving you a week. I'm not giving you $35 games, one game. Oh, you want 3 games? That's $100. So I'm 100 and you're getting 10 games. I go what? 18-3. What did I do last week? 15-3. You get all those games, and you can see the strength. I went 12-3 the week before in college. Pros, I'm lighting it up. So you get all the games, and you get the strength of the games. And if you see it in 2 teasers, you can play 4 or 5 team teasers with me. I'm giving you the teams in a teaser to play. A lot of my customers like the 10-point or 12-point teaser, whatever. They like that. I say, well, it's okay, but the problem with it is the odds are weak. I hit a 9-team teaser a couple weeks ago. My problem was, it pays 4-1. I mean, good luck hitting 9 games and then only making, 4-1 on it. So anyway, that's the thing. Now I have a new method that comes in, not a new method, but a method I can use, which is now teams that need it to win the conference. I always look at the record. I gave you a big game, New England against Miami, week 3 or week 4, stating New England, this is their season. They just lost to the Lions. I think it was week 4. It says if they go 1-3, they're done. Miami's going to win the division. But New England has to win this game to go 2-3. Miami goes 3-1, and they're fine. And New England won. So you've got to look at the record and see teams that really need the game. It's just an extra incentive. And when a team is, got a 2 or 3 game lead, they tend to relax. That's just human nature. When you're strong, you tend to relax. When you're getting beat and you really need the game, you give extra effort. It's just another incentive into picking a game. So we add that to it. So now let's look at week 11 in college. Again, that Alabama-LSU game. Now we get a better idea of Alabama. They played a team with a good defense, and they scored 29, not 50, which is what I was trying to preach. Let's see how they are against a really good defensive team. Now LSU just doesn't run little swing passes, screens, slants, things that when you blitz me, I'm going to take advantage by running into your blitz area. And that's where Alabama's weakness is, because they like to blitz and put pressure on the quarterback. So that's what you need to do, is get rid of the ball quickly. LSU wasn't able to do that. But with that said, now we see Alabama, they put pressure on the quarterback, and he looked average. He was throwing a lot of balls away. He was getting pressured, threw an interception. So, yeah, I mean, when you play these teams that give up 35, 40 points a game, everybody looks good. But, look at Missouri. When they play these weak teams, they score 50, 60 a game. But they played Alabama, they scored 10. So that's all I'm saying is now we get a better feel for Alabama. They're probably a 25, 30-point offense against a good team. You put them in the conference championship game against Georgia, you're not going to see them put up 50 unless they get a bunch of turnovers. And then you have these other teams, in the other games, against the weaker teams. That's why you got to throw out some of the stats. And the only stats that's really worth looking at are the defensive stats, I think. Then you can see how bad a team is giving up 40 points a game. And you go, God, their defense is terrible. So that brings me to my pick. Let's look at the SMU Connecticut game. Howard, SMU Connecticut, what are you doing? Okay, here's why. So let's look at SMU last week. They played a good Houston team with a good defense and a good offense. I need to find the game. Where is it? SMU Houston. I know SMU won pretty big, pretty easily. But I got to find them. Hold on, I apologize. SMU Houston. Now, this is frustrating when... Where the hell did it go? Anyway, SMU beats Houston. Here it is. SMU plays Houston. They play in SMU, getting 14 points. Houston's a pretty good team. They've lit it up. They supposedly have a really good defense. SMU wins the game 45-31. I had it marked over 71. They get 76. SMU's got Sonny Dykes, who's a really good offensive coach, as their coach. And here they light it up beating Houston. They're playing Connecticut this week. And the spread looks like 18 and a half, somewhere around there. And let's look at Connecticut last week. Connecticut plays Tulsa, who's not a very good team. He's decent. And Tulsa beats them 49-19. Let's take a little closer look at those teams. Tulsa scores 23 points a game and gives up 27. They're nothing. Their offense is 389 yards in total, 168 passing, 221 running. They're not a very good team. Let's look at Connecticut. They score 20 a game, give up 48. Let's look at SMU. They score 29 a game, although it's getting better, as you can see, and they give up 35. And look at Houston, score 47 a game and give up 31. So SMU puts up 45 points on a Houston team that gives up 31. And they score 45 even though they only average 29. But it's Tulsa scoring 49 on Connecticut when they only average 23. And then here's Connecticut, who gives up 50 points a game, gave up 50 points a game. So what I notice is, and this is what you start noticing as you get into the year, certain teams like Nebraska starting to win, they starting to score, they're starting to get Scott Frost. So you got the new coaches, so they start to get it. SMU starting to get it. Connecticut's just terrible. I mean, they give up 48 points. They're probably the worst. Oregon State gives up 45. I don't think there's anybody else. Louisville's giving up 40. 39 by Vegas gives up 39 and a half. Bowling Green 46. I mean, there's some pathetic. Massachusetts gives up 41. New Mexico State gives up 42. Old Miss gives up 36. Rice gives up 38. Old Dominion gives up 40. How the hell did Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech? They give up 40 points a game. And that's it, basically. So, I mean, there's a handful of teams that give up this many points. But what I like is SMU. I like their quarterback, Ben Hicks, 258 a game. They run for about 100, so it's about 360, but obviously it's getting better. Those are averages. But when you put up 45 on a Houston team, that's a good team. And now you've got Connecticut, who's terrible. Let's go into the numbers quickly. So let's look at SMU. Where are they? Okay, Ben Hicks, SMU, 9 games, 55%, 182 yards a game, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, which is what I like. And you got Connecticut's quarterback, David Pindell, 9 games, 58%, 166 yards a game, 11 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. So you can see the difference right away. Hicks throws 15 touchdowns with 4 picks. Pindell gets 11 touchdowns with 8 picks. So you're definitely dealing with a much more open, quarterback in SMU's 15-4. You know they can score, and you know he scores touchdowns. He doesn't turn it over. Where Connecticut's guy, 11 touchdowns but 8 turnovers. He turns the ball over a lot. All right, so let's go into the numbers. SMU hasn't been, well, they're a road favorite here. They're on the road laying 18. They haven't been a road favorite this year. They've just been the underdog, and they're 7-1 as the underdog. Now, being a favorite is a totally different personality, like you're expected to win. Here, they're playing close. Now, they played SMU, played Michigan close. They beat the Navy. They beat Houston. So they're playing, and they're getting quality wins. They played UCF, beat them by like 20, but that's what you would expect. But SMU's playing very well, and they score a lot, which is what you want when you play a Connecticut. When a team gives up 50 points, you don't want a weak offense to play them. They're gonna be laying 20, but they can't score. Here you have a strong offense playing a weak team. There's Connecticut, home dog 1-2, road dog 3-2. They're 4-4. Bet against as a home dog 3-0, 3-2 as a road dog. And believe me, the only reason they're covering is they're getting 35 points a game. They're 6-2 against. Let's go back to 17 and 18. Connecticut, 4-4 as a home dog, 7-1 against, 15-5 against. SMU just started getting better. 5-0 as a home favorite, 1-1 as a road favorite, 18-3 overall the last 2 years from SMU. Remember, they had that 1 year about 3 years ago where they stunk. They didn't win a game. We were locking against them. And the coach, June Jones, quit. Now, look at them. They're 18-3 against the number. And 16, they're 25-7. So they were still pretty bad. Let's look at Connecticut. Home dogs 6-5 since 16. 9-2 against as a home dog since 2016. 25-6 against, 81%. So what you have here, you got this explosive SMU team who's played Michigan, who's played UCF. They played good teams. They beat Navy. They just beat Houston. So now they know how to win. Playing a Connecticut team that absolutely stinks, that gives up 50 points. You wonder if they're even trying. Their quarterback's terrible. They don't really have a running game. So what do you think is going to happen? SMU is going to score early and often. You got a good point at 18. You keep it under 14 is 12. They beat Houston by 14. Granted, it was at home and they were a dog, and so there's no pressure. But looking at the way SMU's playing and the way Connecticut's playing, you would like SMU in this role where they're coming on, they're good scoring, they got a good quarterback. Let's look at their record. SMU is 4-5. Here's the late season factor, right? SMU 4-5 needs the game to get bowl eligible. 5 wins, 5-5, they're bowl eligible. Actually, I think they might need to get to 6, but they have to win this game to get to 5-5 to get to 6-5 and be bowl eligible. So there's a more incentive where Connecticut's 0-5, 1-8. Connecticut has no incentive to get bowl eligible. So there you have it. It's basically SMU, a team that's gotten better, that's played good competition, Michigan, UCF, and here in not a must-win, but probably a must-win. They have a lot of confidence coming off of Houston's win, or beating Houston, and they're playing a team that's got the terrible defense in Connecticut. Now, the over-under is 66. My problem is I don't think Connecticut can score enough to get the over. The only way you're going to get the over is SMU puts up 50 and Connecticut scores 17. In which case, you might as well take SMU and lay the 12 because I don't see how Connecticut is going to put up much of a struggle. They don't score and they just give up points. So SMU should just keep piling it on. They have no reason to rest their players or worry about injuries. All the garbage you hear these announcers say, oh, they need to take everybody out of the game. They might get hurt. I mean, it's football, guys. I mean, give me a break. So anyway, take SMU, lay the 12.5, lay the 13. I mean, whatever. Try to keep it under 14. This will be a blowout by halftime. Absolutely, this is exactly what I'm looking for. A good team coming up, scoring, playing a team with a weak defense. This is what it's all about. It's finding that matchup. I got a good offense playing a weak defense. That's what you're looking for. It's hard to, like LSU, Alabama was really like, let's see what Alabama's got. It was a very small play. It wasn't a lock. It wasn't a strong play. Only played it once. But here you've got so it was like now you've got a taste of Alabama. They got Old Mississippi State this week. They're not going to score 50 on them, but they'll probably score in the 30s would be my guess on Alabama. Now you have a flavor for them. So with all I'm saying with SMU, they're rising and they're playing very good ball against the team with no defense, and they're just going to light it up. They'll probably be 35-0 by the half, maybe 35-7. Maybe you get a turnover, but basically they don't turn the ball over that much. They got a good quarterback. They got a good offensive-minded coach, and their defense isn't terrible. I mean, they'll give up points, but with Connecticut, you have a team that really doesn't, give up. They don't really score a lot, right? In 5 games in the conference, they've only scored 87 points. And in SMU, in 5 has 143. I mean, that's the difference. Connecticut doesn't score and they have a weak defense. So SMU will score a lot, but Connecticut's not there. It's not a Nebraska who's scoring. So if you got Nebraska and SMU, you bet the game over. That's what I did with Oklahoma, Texas Tech. You bet the game over. In this situation, when you got one team that's really aggressive offensively and another team that can't score with a weak defense, you forget the over-under, that's when you attack the team. So take SMU. Again, www.teaserking.com. Good luck. If you, like I said, if you want to buy the month, I'll give you $250 for everything instead of $350. The year, I mean, it's already price adjusted for half the year being gone. The week is $135 for everything instead of, it's $100 for pro, $75 for college. Includes the locks. $135. I'm just on fire. College 27-6. Pros, I don't know. I wrote that down somewhere. Pros, I'm like really hot. It's my last 3 weeks were, let's see, 7, 8, 15. I'm 22-5 the last 3 weeks in the pros. Just unbelievable there. That I have really figured out, and I've added the new systems which help. I have the old systems. I'm just trying to finite and bring in some more systems. So anyway, good luck. www.teaserking.com. Teaserking on fire. I got a bunch of strong college games, and I've already got one pro lock out there. And again, you're buying the week from me. You're buying Tuesday to Monday. You're not buying one game. That's why I'm a little bit more, but I'm giving you 10, 12 games, and I'm ranking them strength and weak. Bet the stronger games, and still the weak games aren't weak. They're just less units, but they're still like LSU. I'm not going to bet a lot on LSU, Alabama, but I'm betting a ton on Utah State to beat Hawaii, and Utah State won by 50. All right, everybody. Have a nice, good weekend. www.teaserking.com.